Hey, what's up, folks? It's Chris, your favorite coach, back at you again twice in one day with another episode of Conversations with Chris, where I meet interesting people. We have conversations, and I think they've got some stuff to share with the rest of the world, which is all of you. Maybe not the rest of the world, but the digital world out there, the people that were connected on social media and all that stuff. And we have with us today none other than Chris Sinatra. He's a luxury real estate specialist up in Connecticut, and I have the pleasure of working with him and his lovely bride to be. And I think what you guys are doing up there are great. So, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into the real estate business and your journey? And you're kind of like an all-encompassing real estate professional, because it's investing, holding, flipping, selling, brokerage, everything.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris.
Of course.
Pleasure to be here. Sitting outside. It's gorgeous weather today here in Connecticut. Yeah, I'm a jack of all trades, I would say. I got into real estate because I had a great interest in it. I've always been fascinated with it from the time I was a kid. I just love it. I love working with the clients, whether they be buyers, sellers, investors. And my goal is really simple. It's my success is based on their success. If they have a good year, if they sell their house for what they want, if they get a house, and that's been the name of the game the last few years with buyers, or if investor buys a great property, then I'm happy, and that's how I keep score for me.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like you keep score. You work with people that you want to work with, that you like working with. I mean, that's kind of the determining factor. And it seems like your what motivates you is helping people achieve their dreams.
Totally motivated by helping people. At the end of the year, I just look at the number of people who I've helped buy or sell a house, and that's what really motivates me every day.
Yeah. So what's going on up there? Up there where you guys are in Connecticut, I know it's kind of like a lot of luxury properties and stuff, and
Yep.
things have been slow moving. Not a whole lot of inventory. I mean, what's the general real estate climate up there?
So I'm in Fairfield County, Connecticut. I'm with the Higgins Group Real Estate. I'm part of a wonderful team, the Vanderbilt team. We are Fairfield County centric, although I will pretty much go anywhere in the state. Fairfield County, New Haven County, Litchfield County. I've even done Hartford County personally, but my team expands and the brokerage expands to the entire state of Connecticut. Yeah, market is here similar to what it's been during COVID around the country. Very hot, but with very limited inventory. So a strong seller's market continues, although we've seen some changes over the past couple of months. But it is a challenge for buyers who are not ready to go through the gauntlet. And I tell them that from day one.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, a lot of the inventory crunch, multiple offer situation. Yeah, we're seeing that around the country for sure.
Yep.
And are you up there, in particular where you're working? Is it a lot of first-time home buyers? Is it a lot of move up? Are people that sell? Are they staying local? Where are the buyers coming from? What are you seeing happening in the area?
Yeah, a lot of first-time home buyers. A lot of people still coming out of the New York area, New York City,
Yeah.
the suburbs, Long Island. But a lot of people coming from other parts of the country, down south, California, looking to relocate. I had a client who came from California a year and a half ago. I worked with him and his wife and daughters for about 2 months. They never saw the property that they purchased for more than $1 million, and just based on our FaceTime, our conversations, my inspections, all
Wow.
the due diligence throughout, and they saw the property a week after they closed.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So is that common now for people from other parts of the country just to kind of make these tremendous offers sight unseen? And I mean, are you acquiring a lot of properties for buyers without them even kind of coming and taking a look at it?
I can't say it's common. That was the one instance that I've had during
Yeah.
the past 2+ years. I've heard of other cases where it's happened, but I think less so now.
Mhm.
Now that thankfully COVID is just about over, we have the new norm. But more people are going to want to see a property before they lay down, 500,000, a million, multi-million dollar,
Yeah.
that rather than take an agent's word on it.
Yeah, that's well. It's. I mean, people are. I mean, with the are you noticing changes now with the interest rates creeping up? I mean, we just saw the 30-year conventional mortgage interest rate kind of go north of 6%,
Yep.
which is still historically low. We were
Yep.
just talking about that a little while ago with Ben Lavender. Now, are you noticing things change? People being a little bit more selective, maybe not jumping on the properties like they were.
Yeah, we've seen. I've certainly seen a change. My team has seen a change this year over last year. There are still a lot of buyers out there, although a lot of buyers are. I'll just use the word exhausted because that's what they've told me. They're
Sure.
just exhausted at the process,
Yeah.
and they've either stepped back or moved on to something else. Certainly, interest rates, as you said, have gone up for the
Mhm.
past several months, and yeah, that has knocked out
Mhm.
some of the buyers from the
Yeah.
pool. But when new buyers come my way, which they do every day, I put things into perspective for them.
Okay.
Listen, yes, the rate is 5.5 or 5 or whatever it's going to be now for you. And yes, 3-4 months ago you could have had lower, but you can't change the past. You can only work with what you have today and what we forecast for tomorrow. And the Fed has already said the rates are going to continue to go up. So people ask me every day, when's the best time to buy? Today is the best time to buy. The best time to sell was yesterday.
Yeah, it's like if you can afford it, right? So the conversation shifts more towards around the investment per month. How much is it going to cost you, right? Because a lot of times these rate bumps, they don't make too much of a difference with regards to your payment. I mean, I'm talking to some people that where they're having buyers. I mean, it's reducing their buying power a lot. I know down here in Florida, where you have a buyer that's qualified to purchase, for a $350,000 mortgage, and
Mhm.
now a little rate hike makes them only qualify for 300,000 because their ratios are that tight. I mean, is that something that you're experiencing up there in your area, or you pretty much it's just a matter of the buyers calming down because they're seeing those rates go up a little bit and you're taking their time.
I look at each of my clients as a buyer individually.
Mhm.
Yes, their buying power today was not what it was, say, 30, 60 days ago,
Mhm.
but there's still power there.
Mhm.
And, we look at, um, what you can afford on paper
Yeah,
versus what you can afford. I always tell them, to be able to put your head on a pillow at night and sleep.
yeah,
And
yeah.
sleep is not an underrated thing. So there is a difference. And so, working with a good lender, which I'm blessed to have several good lenders that I work with. So if a client comes to me and doesn't have a lender or doesn't have a good relationship with a lender, I can recommend several of the people I work with to them, and they've been happy. They've been very pleased with the communication, the rates, the process,
Mhm.
because the people I work with, they do an excellent job in communicating, as do
Mhm.
I.
Mhm.
What is the process? What steps are they involved with? What do we do? And I tell them, I said, if you need to do something, I'm going to tell you ahead of time. There will be no surprises along the way um, that we can't handle.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because
I think that's a big thing now. People need service at a little bit of a higher level because there's so much information out there. It's a lot of misinformation, so they need somebody like you. I mean, what would you say? What would you say the things that set you apart that make people want to work with you, that want you to be part of this process with them? What are some of the? How would you describe your service on that level?
listen, it is a process, but
Mm,
there's no reason why you can't have fun doing that. I love meeting the people. I love getting to know what they want. There's a difference between what you want and what you need,
sure.
what you don't want. is as important, especially at the beginning, as what you do want and need. Getting together with them in person, seeing houses, and we walk into the first house that we're seeing together, and a lot of buyers feel anxious that they have to buy the first one they see. That's not
Yeah.
the case. It would be great if they did, but it's never happened to me. In
Mm.
all the hundreds and hundreds of clients I've worked with, no one's ever bought the first property we've ever walked into. We've
Yeah.
made offers on it, but we've never bought them. And I just, again, can't stress enough the importance of communication, setting expectations from the first moment you talk to them about what you
Mm.
will be doing for them in the process, which is a tremendous relief for them because they feel like they have to do everything. And in reality, the burden is going to fall squarely on my shoulders and the team I work with.
Yeah, so I mean, you said a lot there. Expectation management, that's huge. Communication. Now, I'm sure in talking in having those expectation management conversations, you kind of you could set it up to where you have the opportunity to exceed their expectations. I mean, is there any scenario you had any transaction that you've done, over the past year where that sticks out as where you had an opportunity to kind of exceed the expectations of your client and you just kind of went for it with gusto?
I can honestly say that I believe I exceed expectations in
Yeah.
every transaction. I had a client who I sold a property to 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago at this point, and I had sent letters out in 2020 and 21 to anybody who's bought from me over the past years, and said, I preface it by saying, if you have some place to go, a rental, a second
Yeah.
home, et cetera, et cetera. Now's a great time to sell.
Yeah.
And here's what equity you have in your property right now. And I have been able to really make a lot of people's dreams come true in the past 18 months with with
Mm.
with that basis, meeting with them. This is what you paid for your house. This is the amount of money you've put into it the last 2 3 4 5 years, and this is what I believe we can sell
Mm.
it for. And every case, in
Yeah.
every case that I can think of off the top of my head, we've actually sold it for above list. And so that makes people very happy when they think they're going to get this and they get more. And yes, they've all had no one's been homeless. We don't want to put anybody in that situation. So they've all
Mhm.
sold well, and they've been very happy. Case in point, um, closed on a property 2 months ago in Norwalk, Connecticut. My clients had bought it 3 years previous. They called me as a result of the letter they got from me last fall. We put the house on the market, sold it in with multiple offers in a couple of weeks. Um, they did all the due diligence they had to, and then post closing, they had done the mail forwarding with the United States Postal Service,
Mm.
and there was a small gap of literally 1 or 2 days, and they didn't get mail. And of course, one of the things they didn't get was their um, refund check from the
Mm.
IRS, and they were kind of freaking out about it. So I called the buyer's agent, arranged to go over to the house, met the buyers, and they were able to give it to me, and I just overnighted it to them up
Mm.
out of state. And again, they were thrilled. They were like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that. They could have mailed it." I'm like, "No, it's all good." So
Yeah, that's awesome. It's and sometimes it's. I always used to say, look, we do a lot more than just sell real estate. When I had my office, I used to tell the agents, listen, remember, we do a lot more than just sell real estate. I mean, sometimes, sometimes we're people's social life, and somebody just needs. Sometimes we're people's therapists, and in some cases, we're picking up garbage, we're getting last minute things done, and mailing checks, doing whatever you need to do. So that that's good to say, and that's not. By the way, that's not expected. A lot of real estate professionals out there, they only do. They're like, oh, what's the standard? What's the minimum amount I need to do in order to fulfill my obligations? And nobody really goes the extra mile. And I think that's kind of what's been impressive about you and your team and the way that you do things is just you're you if all you don't consider that doing your job like if you the minimum standard it's always that that extra effort, that above and beyond. And I mean, everybody. I mean, I haven't met anybody that doesn't like you. So you're doing something right, right? So everybody likes Chris. Everybody's happy with what you're doing. And I mean, what advice would you give to people out there that are considering making a move? I mean, maybe even in your neighborhood, in your town, they're considering making a move, either selling, moving up, buying, cashing in. Do you have any like some nuggets of advice for people?
If you're going to be buying in the market, um, definitely get a pre-qualification or a pre-approval letter from a lender.
Hmm.
Uh, I always liken it to the fact that you want a new car, but you don't know how much you have to spend.
Yeah.
You could buy a $10,000 car used. You can buy $100,000 car new. So if you don't know what your buying power is, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So
Mm,
that's step one.
mm,
Um, my team and I, we can help you through that process as well if you don't have a trusted lender.
mm.
Secondly, I would say, ask questions. There's I love when clients ask questions because it means they're participating in the process,
Mm.
and it is a process and it's fun. And I was trying to think if there's one word that my clients over the years would describe working with me is it's fun.
It's
We have a
fun.
lot of fun. We have a lot of fun out there.
Yeah,
We
perfect.
I do not take myself too seriously, um, and my clients know that pretty much from day one.
Yeah, I always say if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. So, make sure if you're buying, make sure you prove know how much you can afford. Make sure you have fun and ask questions.
Yeah,
I think even I used to when I used to list properties, I always had that document that I would leave with the seller. Hey, here's questions to ask a real estate agent before you hire them, before you list with them. So, and I think sometimes people don't know what questions to ask, whether you're buying or selling. They really don't know. So the fact that you're telling them, hey, ask questions. I bet if they ask you what questions to ask, you can help them come up with a few.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our brokerage and the team has a lot of
Mm,
different materials to provide to
mm,
both buyers, sellers, and
mm,
investors.
mm.
But that's just a conversation starter.
Yeah.
It's part of the education process. And Cy Sims said it best. An educated consumer is our best customer. An
Yeah.
educated buyer, an educated seller, an educated investor is my best client and our
Yeah.
best clients. They're going to make smart decisions based on what's best for them, and I'll help them along the way. People who want to kick tires, back in the day when you
Mm.
could afford to kick. COVID has seen an end to that. There's no
Yeah.
tire kickers out there because it's just not possible to do. So most people today in the market, if they're sellers, they want to sell, and they
Yeah.
they don't expect to be on the market, 4, 6, 8 months down the road. Uh,
Mm.
and buyers also managing their expectations is so important.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can get you in as far as a property for the right price. Bargain hunters are no. Oh, do you think I can buy that, $500,000 house for 300?
Mm.
Probably not. You know,
Yeah.
probably not.
Yep. I know you don't see that a lot anymore. It's because it's like under certain terms and conditions, they might accept full price, right? So then who knows how many full price offers there'll be. I mean, in talking about those managing those expectations,
Yes.
I had a seller one time that complained about an agent of mine because she sold their house. She sold their house for over asking price in one day, and so she called me to see if we could lower the commission for her. And and I was talking to this particular agent, and I told her, Angela, if you would have had a conversation up front, hey, we might sell this house quickly. And it might sell for over asking price. Will that pose a problem for you? Because even talking about setting those expectations up front, that hey, we could sell this very quickly, you might get a lot of activity up front. You might have a bidding war here, and that's we're capitalizing on the months of the backlog of buyers that we have that both myself and the MLS brokers have, right? So it's so important to do that. But yeah, I don't even know if anybody, I don't even know any agents that would kind of work with somebody that's looking for a bargain nowadays. It's just what's the take someone around
Yeah.
that's looking for a bargain. That I mean that seems like it's not even a thing anymore. But
It really isn't. It really isn't. And then people come in and I had a conversation with somebody last night, new to the market here in Connecticut. wanted to know about the market. So we are talking about it, and then we came to the price point question. And I said, "What's your price point?" And they said, "Oh, we're looking in the $50,000 to $60,000 range." It
For a
it
down
doesn't.
payment?
Yeah, yeah. No, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. And I said, I said, I just want to manage your expectations. I don't want to
Yeah.
burst your bubble. I said, but that
Yeah.
doesn't really exist here. Um, could you buy I suppose, a mobile home? We do have them here.
Mm.
But a nice mobile home is going to be well above, well above.
Yeah, yeah. And we experienced that a lot in Florida too. Look, I came from New York, and a lot of the Northeasterners are like, you could cash in up north and then you could go down to Florida and you could buy dirt cheap property. We had some buyers, a client of mine had some buyers come over from California. They sold over in the LA suburb. They came over with, $2 million, wanting to buy something in Jupiter Island. And they figured, hey, we came from California. We're going to be able to buy a mansion. And they're like, and my guy's like, you can't buy land in Jupiter Island for $2 million. They're like, huh? But we're from California, and he's like, I don't care where you're from. Here is the most expensive. This is the most expensive place in the country.
Yep.
Per square foot. And I mean, even in Jupiter now, we're seeing single family houses. There's a single family houses less than $1 million, and things are changing around the country. We there's still we talked to Paul Brown over there in Tennessee, right? In
Yep.
Tennessee, and Chris over in Alabama and stuff. There are still places where you can get deals, but those things are not there. Those things are non-existent in the areas like we live, right? I mean,
Yeah, a deal is all relative. You have to
yeah,
put it in perspective. If you can buy the home that is right for you and your family at a price you're comfortable with,
yeah.
that's a deal.
Can you
That's a
afford
deal.
it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's always says, stop looking at the price tag. Let's look at the monthly payment. Does everything make sense here?
Right.
And well, hopefully, people. I mean, the interest rate's going up a little bit. I would say that's not necessarily a bad sign. It shows it kind of slows inflation. But let's see what happens with the market with that. And I mean, for any other agents around the country that I don't know if you do a lot of referral business, but what are some of the things of outside buyers, people moving into your area? What are some of the things in the neighborhood that attract people from other areas to move into your area?
Um, Quality of education
Okay, so
is,
education's a big thing.
yeah, yeah. We have, I believe it's 6 of the top 10 school districts in the state uh,
Wow.
here within Fairfield County. Beaches, the water. We have 12 waterfront communities on Long Island Sound, and then
Wow.
we also have 5 towns on Candlewood Lake. So a lot of waterfront opportunities for people from everywhere around the country to come and enjoy the water and the beaches. The weather's, I love the area because I
Yeah.
love the change of seasons.
Sure.
You have definitely 4 distinct seasons here,
Mm,
sometimes shorter than others. But right now we're enjoying a gorgeous mid 70s, bright sunny day here in Connecticut.
nice.
Low humidity, it's awesome. And having the 4 seasons, if that's what you like, or being able to have be lucky enough to have 2 properties and summer here or winter
Yeah.
here, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're close to New York City. I'm 33 miles from New York City. You can get pretty much anywhere in Fairfield County, Connecticut, into Manhattan in under 90 minutes. So with train or highway.
Mm. I love that. Yeah, so a lot of good stuff going on. I didn't even know you were by the water. You're talking about the waterfront community, and I'm like, I didn't even think about that you were going to be. I mean, growing up in Long Island, we used to take that ferry over there from Port Jefferson to Bridgeport,
Yep.
and kind of drive along the coast up there, going up to Massachusetts and skiing and stuff like that. So I know there's a lot of waterfront over there in Connecticut, but you don't really think when you think Connecticut, you don't think of waterfront communities. But that's interesting that you just mentioned that as a kind
Yep.
of an attractor.
Yep. And, there's so much that Connecticut has to offer. Each town has its own unique style.
Hmm.
And people think they want to move here. And then once you meet them, you start talking, you start learning about what they like and what their family likes and what they're looking for. I've had people do complete 180s on where they thought they wanted to live versus where they end up based on just our conversations, and say, listen, you're really really into hiking and exercise and things like that. This town, for instance, has backpacking trails and hiking trails and biking trails and things like
Mm,
that. And they end up going there. So
yeah.
it's learning and listening to your clients that's so important, and they get the benefit.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's there's so many things to do there, and that's kind of like the intangible thing of what a real estate professional does in a transaction. I mean, it's more than just showing houses and kind of bringing buyer and seller together. It's all that stuff in between, like how you're saying people think that they want one thing, and then through your consultative process, you help someone self discover that something else might be actually be better for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth its weight in gold every time. I don't know why somebody would try to do it without an expert like you by their side.
No, and I caution people every day. I said, don't try to jam a square peg into a round hole. There is a process to go through.
Yeah.
I don't know what's best for you the first time out, and in many cases you don't either as a
Sure.
buyer.
Mhm.
So we listen. We have conversations on the phone. We have conversations in person. I encourage people. I said, after the first time we're done doing showings, let's go out. Let's grab a cup of coffee. Let's sit down and let's talk about um, your family, the kids. What are your priorities? What are your concerns? What are your questions? Do the best we can to answer those, and go on from there with a clearer understanding of really what's going to make them happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love the process. I don't know. I mean, you're a gentleman and a scholar. There's not too many of us left. And if nobody has any questions for Chris, he's knocking it out of the park, selling real estate through a customer service and educational centric approach. I highly recommend if you're looking in the area or if you're an agent around the country, you want to know more about over there in Connecticut. If you've got a lot of people moving out of your area, get in touch with Chris. I don't know, Chris, if you have any parting words for everybody. And you're easy enough to get in contact with. You're connected right here
Yep.
to these videos. People can click on you. You've been doing some stuff. You've been starting to get active on social media there, so we'll see more of you for sure. But any parting words for the audience today?
No, just big thanks to you, Chris, for having me on today.
My pleasure.
Big thanks to my clients, because they make this all possible, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with each and every one of them. 65% plus of my business last year was referrals,
Yeah.
so I'm very grateful for that. I don't think it would be that high if I'm just doing the bare minimum, right?
No, that's
Um,
great.
and I'm blessed to be on the Vanderbilt team, because like so many people in real estate say, "Oh, it's good to have a partner." Well, I have dozens of partners on
Yeah.
my team, so huge shout out to them and to Rick and Adele Higgins and the Higgins Group brokerage for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to work and say I'm with the Higgins Group every day. And just a huge thank you to my fellow Mavericks and my family.
That's right, Mavericks. Do it different. And
Right.
we're so happy that you joined us today. And your customer centric approach doesn't go unnoticed. And man, keep doing what you're doing. We'll see you out there in a virtual world. And your work is a testament to all the other real estate professionals out there. If they can only kind of get this stuff at a high level like you do, it definitely lift the name of the industry. So thanks for joining us today, Chris. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.